First, fast, and accurate. News Channel 25, WVTT.
We're going to see a wintry mix later on tonight. The low is going to be about 15 degrees. Tomorrow, some more snow, a high of only 20 degrees, but then it looks like we're going to see a little bit more sun and a little bit of a warm up, if you can call it that, on Sunday. The high is going to be about 36 degrees. I'll have more weather updates for you later on in Twin Tiers Evening News.
Global news update on WVTT.
Egypt's protection of women and their rights has been called into question amid growing reports of assaults and intimidation. It's particularly dangerous for women who take part in opposition marches in Cairo's Tahrir Square, but now volunteers are on patrol in an effort to keep women safe. CNN's Ian Lee reports from Cairo.
A chaotic night on the streets of Cairo. A group of women moving through the crowd chant against the Muslim Brotherhood and President Mohamed Morsi. Suddenly, a gang of young men and boys pushes toward them. In Egypt, it's not the tear gas or bullets women fear the most, it's sexual assault and harassment. Journalist Sharouk Al-Attar knows this fear firsthand, showing us where a mob attacked her near Tahrir Square.
I didn't know what to do. I just shouted. I was like seeking help, maybe. I don't know. But when I did so, it was horrible. It went crazy. It went very crazy. I couldn't see anything but a bunch of people surrounding me from everywhere, from every direction, and like harassing me everywhere, like raping me.
Sharouk and her sister fought off dozens of men.
I had this moment when I was about to lose my conscience, and I controlled it because I felt if I lose my conscience here, I'll be gone, I'll just die.
Sexual harassment isn't just a Tahrir phenomenon. We've seen it plague Egypt for decades, but it's only recently, since the revolution, that we've seen it become more violent and more organized.
Many Egyptians turn a blind eye to the problem, anxious it will tarnish the revolution and country's image. This man puts up a sign against sexual harassment. Moments later, someone has removed it. Egypt's governments, past and present, have failed to address this issue. And often the women themselves are blamed for provoking the trouble.
We're always blamed, and it's always religious. It's always about what the women should be wearing, and they should be wearing hijab. And when you show them some photos and some evidence for harassment for girls who are covered up and with hijab, they have to find something to blame on the girls.
But women and men who recognize their rights are fighting back. Graffiti on the walls display defensive options for women. Here, the newly formed and ambiguous Black Bloc tries to protect women who want their voices heard. And then there are the Tahrir bodyguards. When the sun goes down, they go to work, patrolling the streets in packs during protests to help women at risk.
So it might be like 20, sometimes it reaches 100 of people trying to harass women, only one woman. And so our volunteers, we train them to how to deal with this. We know how to go inside, and then we take her out.
Being on the front lines puts their members in jeopardy as well. This video allegedly shows a woman being attacked by men with knives and sticks. Tahrir bodyguards can be seen struggling to rescue her.
We are here and we are fighting the sexual harassment, and one day this is going to be stopped from all the Egyptian streets. In Tahrir, it's just a start to move from Tahrir to all streets, and this is our next plan.
Unfortunately, they weren't there when Sharouk Al-Attar was attacked. She needed medical treatment, but says she won't be deterred.
We didn't get any of our demands after the revolution. The regime is the same and everything the same. So this is the reason I still go to Tahrir Square, and what happened will not make a difference.
Some 3,500 flights are canceled, schools are closed. City and state officials are urging people to go home and stay home. With more than 2 feet of snow and hurricane-force winds forecasted for some areas in the Northeast, the blizzard that is moving in is not one to be taken lightly. Tori Dunnan is tracking the storm from Boston, where the flakes have already started to fly.
Long lines at the airport.
If you couldn't make arrangements really early, I just would stay home. I really hate to be in the airport for 2 or 3 days.
At the gas pumps.
If I get the gas now, I don't have to worry about getting it during the storm.
And at the grocery stores.
You have to prepare in case we lose power.
Preparation time is nearly over across the Northeast. The snow is falling and it's time to start heeding the warnings.
This is a storm of major proportion. Stay off the roads. Stay home. Let the public works crews do their job over the next 48 to 72 hours.
From New Jersey to Maine, thousands of pieces of equipment are standing by.
We really are watching as the frigid cold temperatures and the driving winds and the lightweight snow blowing right back into the roadway. So we have a real prolonged fight.
Earlier this week, the region marked the 35th anniversary of the deadly blizzard of 1978. Well, forecasters say there are some similarities between that historic beast and what's brewing today. The outcome will not be quite as dramatic.
This storm, too, looks like it may stall, but instead of stalling for 2 to 3 days, it may be more in the order of 12 to 24 hours.
Now with refrigerators stocked and shovels at the ready, everyone is being advised to go home, hunker down, and ride this out.
The Massachusetts National Guard has some 6,000 troops ready to help with this storm. There are also hundreds of snowplows and trucks out on the streets here in Boston ready to help as well. Again, though, authorities are telling people stay home, don't come out. It's going to be too dangerous. And by the signs of things, the snow has really already started to pick up here in Boston. I'm Tori Dunnan.
The grounding of the Boeing 787 Dreamliner is now entering its 4th week, and the National Transportation Safety Board now says a battery in the belly of the plane is the focus of the investigation into fires on board. Renee Marsh reports.
All 50 Dreamliners in the world have been essentially grounded for 3 weeks and scrutinized after a string of incidents. The National Transportation Safety Board's investigation zeroes in on the plane's lithium-ion batteries. One caught fire in a Japan Airlines plane on the tarmac in Boston, and another burned in an All Nippon Airways plane flying over Japan, forcing an emergency landing. Investigators found the batteries on board both flights overheated, and the battery in Boston showed signs of a short.
Our investigators are examining not just the battery failure, we're looking at what caused that battery failure, but we're also looking at the certification process.
The Dreamliner is the first commercial plane to depend so heavily on lithium-ion batteries. They hold more energy in a lighter, smaller space, and were only allowed under an FAA condition that special safeguards were in place.
An update on Wall Street. Let's take a look now at WVTT's Wall Street Wrap-Up, brought to you by News Radio 96.7 WVTT. The Dow was up 49 points to close at 13,993. The Nasdaq up 29 points to close at 3194, and the S&P up 9 points to close at 1517. Much more to come. This is Twin Tiers Evening News.